Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Jesse Jackson III, best-selling author and facilitator of the Don't Kick 'Em Out book and training series and lead advisor and consultant here at the Best Man Company, LLC, and one of America's hands down best behavior gurus. What gives us the guru status, 17 years in the business, providing the most clear, concise guidance to schools on how to manage the tough issues. One of those tough issues is definitely school violence, and particularly the issue of fighting. Now, this is at all levels. I am on record as stating that no institution can afford to allow itself to have a reputation for allowing fighting on campus. Now, I have to highlight the distinctions. One of the things that we do in our training program when we're in our Fighting Institute, it is talk about the distinction and understanding the difference between school fights and street fights. I have had a very active weekend on this issue of fighting. First of all, it is our #1 online training of my entire 17-year career. You know, I've probably put out over 40 plus programs online. And that Fighting Institute, man, that one took off. You're talking about hundreds of schools got in it right away because they need answers. Okay, I was the one to say it when they come back from COVID, I can tell you what to look at, particularly in trauma zones. And I mean, it checked out. I've had an active weekend on this issue of fighting because we've even had some issues on the college campus, right? College campuses. And one of the things that we've seen, and I was able to kind of give some insight into, is we had a big situation between colleges, football teams, okay? You can see, and I can give two examples of this, right? We had Jackson State and Southern that had some issues last year. So what change did they make this year? They didn't even let the kids shake hands this year, okay? We don't even play that game. We didn't even let them shake hands. Y'all go there, y'all go that way. Well, see, that's what I'm talking about, because what happens is, and now you take another situation like the University of Michigan and Michigan State. Well, let me tell you what's going to happen in those situations. Obviously, the kids will take the hit for it, but let me show you what's going to happen. An adult is going to get fired over that, all right? Because it was an adult's job to control their guys and let their guys, hey, let them go, because that's what I'm saying. I have had this school year, I have had principals fired, removed, replaced, reassigned because fighting was out of control on a campus. I mean, last year, that it started happening last year, and that's why I made the Fighting Institute. It's things we've got to understand. You know, when the streets, so that's why I always ask this question about do we have school fighting going on or street fighting? When you see the content of these fights, these rumbles going on in the video, the streets is clearly leaking into mainstream America, okay? The streets entered into the Oscars, okay? It entered into it. Feelings, impulses, how I feel, watch your mouth, this is what it's gonna be. And one thing about the education community is always gonna go one of two ways, right? They're going to stay with very educated philosophy, one side, kick them out, or let's get the police, or they're going to go law enforcement route. I can tell anybody, and this is our rule: do you want to break up fights or prevent them? I got law enforcement. Law enforcement's my goal for law enforcement is prevention. If I got to call the police, somebody getting locked up, something went awful wrong. I have seen this year. About 3 or 4 programs that canceled the football season due to violence and fights breaking out at the games among players and the fans in the stands. No institution, folks, can afford to allow fighting to go on. So it is some things that we must begin to understand about the street culture that is sinking into the education environment. As a leader, if you're a superintendent, if you're a principal, and we're talking about like everything has changed now. I mean, it's two sides for me. This is really three sides for me. One, I come from a violent neighborhood in Detroit, right? I come from a violent neighborhood in Detroit. And so it was very understood that certain situations, we knew it was going to be gun violence or rumbles, right? I went to a school called Detroit McKenzie, right? And there's a school about 4 or 5 miles away from us. It's called Detroit Cody. It's still up. My school's tore down. If whenever you brought those two schools together, it was going to be gunfire and rumbles. Predictable. You got schools on the other end of town on the west side, right? You bring certain neighborhoods together, it's going to be a problem. So the thing is, I have that awareness in me to this day. Man, it's over 30 plus years ago. I am still aware of the presence of street violence and energy. And so in the school community, it's some things we need to understand that we can do different, that we can actually put ourselves in a much better position, okay? A much better position that we can prevent a lot of this mess and improve the safety. No superintendent can afford to be known as have schools in your organization that are fight clubs, because the parents are like, once that gets out, once those videos gets out, once those videos on the bus get out, once those videos of the school get out, I'm telling you, the worst situation to be in as a principal, as a superintendent, is to have to defend or respond to fighting, gang fighting, activity of that nature, anything sexual. So you have to bring your teams back to the table and to really start evaluating the reality of what's going on so we can plan properly. A lot of the way we're going about stuff doesn't even make sense, and it's unsafe. You can beef up security, and you should have a lot of security. But the thing, once again, do you want to break up fights or prevent them? There are prevention awareness that you have to have. And when I'm seeing colleges, I'm talking about big time universities having these problems, let me tell you something. Every situation I know of where that fighting start going on and things like that start happening, I'm telling you only what I know. Somebody gonna lose their job. Every time an adult is gonna take the hit. Them kids start fighting, some adult is gonna take the hit. And I have personally seen people get fired, removed, relocated, because it was deemed that they were running an unsafe institution. That's why we created the Fighting Institute. The Fighting Institute is 1,000% about the fundamentals, particularly at the K-12 level. And here's the deal, we deal with it differently at all levels. We've got the K-5 approach because they're not all the same. It's not that simple as just banning fighting. At the K-5, you can't one fight and done. You can't do that. It's children. So there's some teaching measures, teaching methods. Junior high gets a little different, and those junior highs are really getting aggressive. But at the high school level, friends, it's just things, measures that have to be in place. So what the Fighting Institute is about, I have been bringing in management teams and school leadership teams, and I'm so proud. I mean, literally hundreds of schools have come to the training. They're asking questions. They're following up. I've been going to schools. People are reading the book because safety, security is a non-negotiable measure. So the things that we're talking about in this training that's made it so valuable, and it's been my highest used online training. You're talking about understanding trauma residuals, understanding what a trauma zone looks like, understanding the dynamics between a school fight and a street fight, understanding what the trauma zone brings into the building. Trauma zone is where all that crap that's going on in the community will attempt to come to school every day. Anybody will tell you in high school what's going on out there. That social media crap, some stuff that happened in the neighborhood, they try to bring that mess to school. This means that principals now, just like with COVID, they almost try to make you a doctor. And I'm not suggesting that you be, but you had to have different skill set. Same thing with this fighting thing. If you're one of those schools, and hear me clearly, one fight is too many, but if you know there's a dangerous situation and it has just got really tough, and you've had people, and we all have had to get in there. I myself have had to get involved in helping some situations die down and physically do it. Man, if that's what you're dealing with, folks, you gotta come to this one is just kind of it was like COVID reentry. A lot of people said, my staff needs a certain type of training before they return. And that's where we really excelled at that. A lot of people, when we were having race issues, a lot of superintendents and principals said, listen, Doc, we need some help with this to bring our staff back together and things. If you're having fighting, physical altercations on your campus, particularly at the high school level and junior high, you need some help. What this training does for us is it talks about understanding the real residuals of trauma, understanding what that really looks like, understanding how to emotionally manage, the trauma of the campus. It's a lot going on. There's a lot in my districts. I mean, I would almost say this year that I am aware of in different situations, we probably had about 8 to 10 kids killed this year. And that stuff comes to just right back to the school. From the community comes right back into school. It's a very serious, volatile something that requires guidance and training. The thing I'm most proud of, we're helping security teams and resource teams, because to assume that the police really know this, the thing I think I'm most honored is I've had so many sheriffs, and like in the South, Sheriff's Department does the resource officer assignment, but them coming, they just listening to them and them listening to me and them confirming like they learned something from me being in there and that they need more of that is an honor. How to prevent fights on campus, how to identify certain things, how to identify your fight patterns, what's going on, what do we need to get in front of, and then finding the right behavior policies, and then the approach, the proactive way to do it, the W's to look for in a fight, where it's happening, when's it, these type of things. Lining up who should be helping us with fights. What is everyone's role in preventing fights on our campus? Everybody on our staff has a role. Everybody's not called to physically get in there, but everybody has a role in it. And this is the time to discuss it. Right now we're coming, it has been a very active fall. We're going into the top trauma season, which is the winter. And as soon as we come out of that winter, you can expect this thing to take off, man. You can expect this thing to take off. Listen, I have added additional dates for the upcoming months. Find a date and time. Get in a session on a date and time you can do it. It's a block. It's under 2 hours. Set aside that block. You're going to see we're going to start doing some in the morning, some after school, and I'm even going to start doing some after school. And right now, management is telling me some people are asking for Saturdays. Actually, I've had 6 districts said, listen, just come on a Saturday. We'll bring all our admin on a Saturday. Not asking you to do that, but what they are starting to realize is that, hey, we can't have, like, during the school day to move administrators off campus to go to training is really not good. If you come to us, it's better because we can manage it. And I mean, I have been in a building this year with admin in training, and we got the all call on the communication device. And we all darted out the training room to go break up a melee. This is real. You need guidance. You need help. That's what our Fighting and Physical Altercation Prevention Institute is all about. It gives answers. So find a date that works for you. I'm going to continue to provide the best guidance on this topic. This is one that we can't afford to miss. If you have not been to it yet, if you haven't been to it online and have not brought it to your district, I am asking, almost pleading with you, don't get caught on this one. This one right here, it's no way to recover from a video of a melee in your school's name attached to that video. It is damaging to the reputation, and it is very damaging to your career, and it is egregious for health and safety. It makes all of us uncomfortable. It makes all of us unsafe. You got to be proactive, and that's what this training is about. Please find a date that works for you. I will be here to help you and to provide you. And this is one of the trainings, like our race training, that got over a 94% perfect score from over 12,000 attendees. With the Fight Institute, I have 100% of everybody that attended said, we needed to hear that. We learned a lot from it, and we need to hear more of it. So this is no theory, no opinion. It's somebody that's done it, still doing it, seen it on all sides, and is giving you what you need to keep your folks safe and to prevent that fighting. That fighting cannot be allowed. It is disrupting the learning environment, and we cannot teach with the threat of fight and violence breaking out from period to period. Let's do something about it. Please join us, register for one of our Fighting and Physical Altercation Prevention Institutes. I guarantee you, you won't regret it. I'll see you in class. Be well.